Oh, testing 1, 2. Good afternoon, good morning, whatever may be the case. You know my name, Cecil the Young, coming to you live and in color from Soundview Media here in Stratford, Connecticut. Now, you know I've been telling you about this situation that's been going on with me in terms of the city officials and state officials who violated my rights by committing fraud and all the above, lying and conspiring with the city to get rid of me in terms of being an employee with the city after being there for 27 and a half years. And again, I've talked about this matter and shown it on Soundview Media for the last 3 years, and I'm saying again, it has to come to some kind of conclusion other than the fact that the Assistant Attorney General Tung says that he cannot find my files. Now, I can't understand why he cannot find the files and the complaints that I filed against Gerald Wayner, Mike Cohad, Dr. Evans, and Jody Paul. I can't understand why they can't find any information in the Attorney General's office, knowing that in 2008, I gave the same information to Attorney General Blumenthal. And what troubled me is that in 2008, they ruled in my favor. They ruled in my favor in terms of my medical benefits being dealt with. And what troubled me is that that was in 2008. And what troubled me is that here it is 2009, Blumenthal's office sent a request to the state auditors requesting that they look into to see if whether or not they committed fraud. Albert Murphy and Gerald Wayner and Mike Cohad, did they commit fraud? So we asked for them to give them a report back on that. Now the report has come back, but it's come back, and I'm being told now by the Attorney General that they cannot disclose the information pertaining to that complaint that I filed against these people who ended up having me to basically lose my job and to cover up for those of them that basically violated the public's trust. Now, as I said before, on my show, Soundview Media, you can download this show 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. And you will see overwhelming evidence of my rights being violated by city and state officials. And what troubles me is that they committed fraud and they violated the public's trust. You know, you talk about ethics, they have no ethics. Those folks that did what they did to me. And I'm saying, you don't take my word for it. Look at the evidence, review the evidence, and you find that what I'm saying is the truth. I need you sometime to be able to say, hey, look, hold up, something needs to be done. Why this is not being dealt with? Okay, these people violated the public's trust. And I'm saying again, it has all been documented, okay? I myself, who worked with the city for 27 and a half years, okay, it's a shame and a disgrace that in 2010 I requested time off from my job. My doctor requested that I get time off from my job in order for me to deal with the problems that I was dealing with in terms of the stress they put on me because of me complaining about the contaminated dirt piles at the city health department. And it troubled me that, okay, here it is, they denied my medical relief request, okay, time off. So then again, I filed another complaint with Janet Finch, okay, and asked her to likewise give me a medical leave request. They denied my medical leave request, saying that it was not justifiable in terms of why I needed the time off, that I was requesting for time off. As you see here, Dr. Walters, my doctor, referred me to Dr. Waynick, who is a clinical psychiatrist who basically specialized in people with emotional issues and other issues that cause them to have the depression and mood swings and all the above. That's what I have had for the last 20 years because the city intentionally, unjustly covered up my rights being violated by city and state officials. And I'm saying, how could this have happened? Okay, and that's why I said I want everyone who listens to this show to look at all the overwhelming evidence and to say to yourself and to say to the Attorney General Tung, shame on you to not want to pursue this matter. I say likewise, shame on Attorney General Senator Blumenthal, because it was Senator Blumenthal who had this information, okay, back in 2008, at least he should have had it, because that was the issue that I was complaining about, was that they had denied my medical benefits because I had the audacity to want to file a complaint against the city of Bridgeport for allowing contaminated dirt piles to be laying dormant at the city health department. And because of my complaint, they ended up terminating me, okay? And what allows me, really angers me, is that they tried to cover it all up. And this is what troubled me, that they said I never came to work. I was forced to have to come to work. You see, I was denied here by Janet Finch, by Jody Paul, and denied by Janet Finch as well. And what troubled me is that I was forced to come to work, even though they knew good and well that I was being treated by Dr. Wayne for depression and all the other mood swings that come along with that. And what troubled me is that, okay, here it is, the check stub showing on March 16, 2006. I got paid from the city of Bridgeport, okay? It was mailed to me on March 24th, okay, indicating, okay, that, hey, here it is for the day and a half that you came in and worked hour and a half, whatever it made you got paid for that day. That was it. And it troubled me because, again, here it is, you got Assistant City Attorney Russell Liskoff, okay, who have issues with those of them who are filing complaints against city officials. Okay, and I say shame on them. They unjustly terminated me, Russell. And for me not to have the right to defend myself, I say shame on you, shame on the city of Bridgeport and those that got behind trying to cover this all up. Because I'm not going to let it go like that. I can't let it go like that for what you did to me. I ain't no way in the world I can let it go like that. And that's why I said to the powers to be, all right, here it is. Okay, you got Dr. Walter's signature here. This is his signature in 2005. right? There was no problem in 2005 accepting this signature and accepting this document as being a document from Dr. Walter's office, giving me permission to be out of work at that time because I had a leg injury. And what troubled me is that here it is in 2006, okay, I got the same Dr. Walters, okay, doctor's note that to give a person a time off out of work, okay, but it was signed by a nurse. That wasn't good enough. Now, you know good and well, most doctors do not have the kind of time they need to come out there to give every patient in writing what they need to, in terms of if they need time off from work or whatever it may be, or someone who's sick and needs time off from work, whatever it may be. That should not be an issue in terms, as long as it's coming from the doctor's office and it's coming from his head nurse. And that's what it was, coming from the nurse. But that wasn't good enough because they said, oh, it didn't give no diagnosis. Well, here it is. Here's the diagnosis, okay? Tell them that I was being treated for extreme anxiety. Okay, and it troubled me that, okay, for them to basically see this and know good and well that that was the case and to tell me that that was not acceptable, was not good enough, I said, shame on them, okay? And that's why I said to myself, okay, how can I let this go? You can't let it go. They said I was terminated for not coming to work. Here it is, you have a time card. You have a time card showing that I came to work on March 16, 2006. You will see all this on my website. All this you can download at your own time, at your own convenience, to be able to review it and make your own opinions known to the public, or either to yourself or to whoever else needs to know about how they treated me, Cecil Caesar Young. You see here the letter says I was terminated because I have not returned to work as of March 16, 2006, okay? They thought that I wasn't going to return to work, but I showed up at work because I knew good and well that I could not afford to lose my 27 years of service with the city because I had not turned 55 at that time yet, okay, and I had to come to work. So I was forced to come to work against my doctor's will, okay? But I told him on the 17th I'll be going for a colon exam, which I did go for, a colon exam, okay? That was on the time card, the city time card. Now here it is, you have Dr. Evans' supervisor, my supervisor, Ethan, who also indicated I'll be leaving at 10:30 because I plan on getting married this day, okay? And they knew that. And for them to turn around, okay, and to totally disregard my supervisor, Ethan, showing that on 10:30 that I did come to work, that I would be leaving at 10:30, all right, 11 o'clock, and I left. Okay, and it also indicated that I would be going for a colon exam on the 17th. You see that there. This is what the Dr. Evans office, they have all this information in black and white. So for the Attorney General not to be able to find this information, I say shame on him, okay? And part of the reason why I went to work, okay, because again, I knew that I needed to get married because the lady that I've been with over the years has suffered a deal of stress, greater deal amount of anxiety because of her complaining, writing these letters after letters to Senator Blumenthal, to the governor, Malloy, Lamont, all the above, and no one seemed to want to respond to these issues. And I say, why? Is it because of the politics, because of the connections? It must be that. Because again, here it is, I got evidence showing that on March 15th, I came to work, all right? I came to work on March 15th and March 16th, okay, and I got married. And here she was put on my insurance policy. Patricia was put on my policy so she wouldn't have to go to the state to get state assistance. She was put on my policy because I was still employed with the city of Bridgeport at that time, which shows you, okay, that on March 16th, if I didn't come to work, this would not have been possible. This could not have been possible if I did not come to work. She would not have been able to be on my insurance policy if I did not come to work on that date. You see the date here? I was married by Judge Paul Gannum, okay, who basically swore in me, gave me and my wife a time to be able to come down to the studio, down to his office, to the courthouse, and we got married on that day. And it really troubled me because I said to myself, why would Gerald Wayne and why would these people go ahead and cover up for these people the way they're covering up for them? Why would they do that? Okay, and I say to myself, it can't be done. And I say, well, okay, what I had filed a complaint with the Freedom of Information request, requesting documentation as to who got paid, what did they do, and all the above. And it ended up coming to showing that Mike Cohad, okay, you see him, Mike Cohad here, and he's over here as well, okay, he got paid with part of the agreeing with Murphy, saying that Murphy was justifiable in terminating me, okay, so as a result of that, he got paid $525, right? Albert Murphy got $700, okay, for so-called finding me so-called guilty as charged, okay, and saying that I was terminated. This is terminated. They agreed that the city was justifiable in terminating me. Okay, that's what they agreed on. Yet and still, when it came down here to my medical benefits that I filed a separate complaint with the department, it indicated, okay, that employees who with the city have a right to continue the medical benefits as long as they file a grievance within a timely fashion. I did do such, okay, and you will see that on the website showing that I did do such. I got over 3 years of me saying the same thing on out of the 55 shows that I put on here from Soundview Media. You can see that those 55 shows will basically say the same thing that I'm saying here today in 2026. And that's why I said shame on Gerald Wayner and Mike Cohad to think that they can commit the kind of fraud that they committed. Now, Mike Cohad was with Gerald Wayner. Okay, Gerald Wayner made $850. For what? Why did he make $850? For what, Gerald Weiner? If Mike Cohad and Albert Murphy was right, if I so-called would have voluntarily resigned, I can't get medical benefits. Okay, so there shouldn't have been no hearings pertaining to no medical benefits. You knew that as well as I knew it. You knew it better than anyone else did, Albert Gerald Weiner. Okay, and that's why I said they committed fraud. And I hate to say that, okay, but I hate to know that they could possibly lose their life, could possibly even be charged and put in jail. Okay, I don't want that to happen to either one of them. Okay, but what you did was wrong. Okay, and I want them to have a full investigation. And I seen that the governor was on Lisa's show this morning on WICC saying that he was all about making sure that any corrupt acts, any kind of attempted act of injustice and all the above, his office would pursue it 100% in terms of making sure that these situations could not go on unnoticed and that he would welcome an investigation. I say to the governor, will you welcome this investigation? Will you investigate what I'm saying here, that Gerald Weiner and Mike Cohad committed fraud? Because that's what they did. They got paid over here knowing good and well. If I would have voluntarily resigned, they would not have gotten paid. There would not have been no hearings, and they knew that. And that's what troubled me, that they knew that, yet still they went along with them, covering up for them, okay? And I'm saying to myself, shame on them, okay? All right? And it also troubled me as well, okay? It's like, hey, the bottom line is that I was declared totally disabled, okay? I mean, I was attacked physically I was attacked, psychologically I was attacked, which led to me having an operation that took 7.5 hours on my back, and my back ain't never been right since then, okay? And I'm saying shame on the city of Bridgeport to want to insult me and hurt me the way that they've hurted me, okay? Knowing good and well that the Social Security Agency approved my disability. From 2006, from the time I got terminated, they approved my disability from that date on to this point. Okay, me being on Social Security, I have not worked in 20 years, okay? And I'm saying I have not worked for 20 years because of my back and because of my anxiety and the impression that I've been going through and all the above. And I'm saying, you know, to me, you say, Cecil, why are you continue to talking about these issues? Because they did me wrong. And I'm saying that finally I got Councilman Newton and Anita Martinez to finally say that they want this matter to be looked into, to be investigated. And I'm saying to the city council, to the mayor, why has not Mayor Ganem honored their request to have this matter be investigated? Okay, why not, Joe Ganem? I mean, you want your license back, and you want them to look into your past and see whether or not you deserve be reinstated back and have your license all the above. Well, don't I deserve a second chance to be proven that I was unjustly terminated? I never even had a sit-down meeting with anybody. Okay, and as a matter of fact, the lady that was at the time of my supervisor before, that Jean, they tried to get her to say that she had warned me in terms of telling me, Cecil, about my attendance. When she said she could not do that. She would not lie to try to get me punished, to get me terminated for so-called being told that I was warned about. Warned about what? I was never warned about anything pertaining to my job, pertaining to anybody I ever worked for. So the shame on them to even try to get her to say that, and she said she would not say it, and she didn't say it. And what's so sad is that, okay, they ended up laying her off, okay, but they gave her the benefits, I'm sure, and all the above because of the way that they had to lay her off, because what happened was, we had a meeting at City Hall, at the Health Department building, and I had my tape recorder going, and Jean was on the tape recorder telling me, Cecil, that they wanted me to say that you had an attendance problem, that I referred you to a program, and you didn't go, blah, blah. I told her I can't do that, and she wouldn't do that. And it was on the tape recorder. When we had the meeting, the tape recorder happened to fall out of my pocket, and they picked it up, so they heard her say that. So that's part of the reason why they got rid of her, because they knew good and well that she was not going to cover for Dr. Evans. So that's the reason why they got rid of her. And I say shame on them. But now what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm a little hoarse right now. My body is worn out. But I want to also say that I want you to listen to this here with Jody Fall. I mean, no matter of fact, the labor board. Indicate, here's what I got. Here's what gave the labor board reason to justify the city's action.
Okay. I'll start midway. This is by the State of Connecticut Department of Labor Board of Mediation and Arbitration. There does not seem, or does not appear to be any particular formality attached to the requirements of a medical certificate, other than it be acceptable to the appointing authority, i.e., the grievance superior. A further condition, presumably, would be that the appointing authority's acceptance of a certificate not be unreasonably withheld. In this case, the city was faced with a situation where an employee had been out of work for several weeks and attempted to justify his absence with what were literally scraps of paper. 2 of them were signed by a nurse. The one which was signed allegedly by a doctor did not contain any description of the grievance ailment or diagnoses of any kind. Interesting enough, in a separate missive, Dr. Walters noted that he was not treating the grievant for the condition on which the grievant was blaming his troubles, but had referred the grievant to a psychiatrist. The conclusions are inescapable that the grievant was or should have been aware of the policy and he was in violation of it, and what the consequences would be of continued failure to comply with it. We further note that the allocation of hostile work environment are not borne out by the credible evidence presented. The grievance is denied.
Okay. And you know what's so sad about that? Okay, did they call, what do you call it, Dr. Paper, strips of paper?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, how would he call that strips of paper? These were not strips of paper, but he had until he said that because they wanted to cover it up. Okay, and that's what's so shameful about it. Now, what I'm going to do is, like I said before, I'm going to have the tape recorder be played, okay, exactly from, you'll hear Dr. Evans' voice on the tape recorder, you'll hear Jody Paul's voice on the tape recorder, you'll hear Mike Coed on the tape recorder, as well as Gerald Weiner. These are all the people that were involved in the cover-up, and that's why I want you to listen to what they got to say. Give me a hand there.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to stop there for now. I think I said enough on that. But what I want to point out the fact that in terms of with Lisa Webster and WICC, I don't know what the problem is between Lisa and the person who takes the calls, but for some reason or another, I have to find out about why they're not allowing me to kind of call in the WICC to talk about Gerald Wayne and Mike Coad in terms of them committing fraud. And what troubles me is that Lisa, we never really met. We talked on the phone a couple of times for a minute, and I sent her a whole package of the same information that I got posted on this show. Lisa Webster have the whole package as well. She sent it all, she looked at it all, and next thing I know, okay, I called the show to find out, can I talk about it? I'm not being allowed to go through. So could someone find out exactly why I'm not being allowed to call into WICC as anyone else has been allowed to call into WICC to talk about issues that affect us all in our communities? You know, and I'm saying to myself, I don't want to get into no battle with the Connecticut Post. I don't want to get into no battle with WICC. If anything, I want to collaborate with them to help promote the fact that our neighborhood is in need of real leadership. They're in need of real truth. And you can't get truth if you don't tell it. And that's why I'm saying I don't know exactly what went wrong between me and Lisa Webster, but as far as I'm concerned, I didn't do nothing wrong to her, as far as I'm concerned. And for me to call the show and to have me put on hold for 20 minutes of time, the time they won't even answer the call, okay, just ring, 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 ring. And I want to know why. I mean, now, I know she may not say she's involved in this, not be involved in that, but for some reason or another, was it Gerald Wayner? As to the reason why she didn't want to pursue this matter, because Gerald Wayner is the chairman of the labor board, and he also is the district leader in his district as well, and that he's politically connected. And that's why I said, Lisa Webster, are you denying me because you know good and well, okay, that you are a Democrat too, as I found out that you are a Democrat and you're a judge, probate court judge, so you know how politics works. And for you to not want to hear my concerns, to not want me to let my people hear my concerns, knowing that a lot of people of color call into WICC, and a lot of them will listen to WICC. They don't call in as much as they listen, but a lot of people of color listen to WICC who've been in the area and been in this area for years and years. And likewise, when I was growing up, we all remember WICC. Ray Carlinelli and all the above, Tiny Marco and all the above. We may not always agree with each other, but the bottom line is that you had a chance to be able to voice your concerns. And it troubles me that now I'm being put in a situation where it needs to be found out as to why come Lisa Webster is not really wanting to talk to me on the air. Is it because of Gerald Wayner? Because they're worried about the fact that Gerald Wayner committed fraud, Mike Coad committed fraud, and yes, politically speaking, you know how politics are. We look out for one another. And with him being the chairman of the state labor board, had that kind of awesome power, and Mike Coad being the managing editor of the labor board as well, I mean, they got awesome power. And that's why I say to myself, okay, my attorney, John Williams, I gave him $10,000 to represent me as he represented himself. Do you know he never showed up in court, not one time? And I say to myself, what is it that I'm dealing with? Who is it that I'm dealing with that these people don't want to pursue this matter? Like anyone else would want to pursue an injustice like they did to me. I mean, I was unjustly terminated. You've seen the tape, you heard the tapes, you heard the documentation, everything that you read on here this program today was recorded. and it was put on the recorder, and it was put on documentation in black and white. So all of what you heard on this recorder is in black and white. And the question is, why come someone from the city of Bridgeport, or why come someone from the governor's office, won't sit down and meet with me and other officials to find out exactly whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me? Okay, I said it wasn't. Okay, and what troubled me is that they didn't turn around and deny me my medical benefits as well. No one got, well, terminated employees have a right to continue their medical benefits as long as they file a grievance. I filed a grievance indicating that I wanted my hearing and I wanted my justice. And they denied me for almost 2 years. Gerald Wayne and Mike Coe had denied this for almost 2 years. And the question is, why come Senator Blumenthal, when he was Attorney General, didn't take any action against them in 2008? If they would have took action with them in 2008, maybe my wife would still be here today. Okay, but remember now, it's 2024 that I finally found out that they paid the bill. They paid for Dr. Tarina. They paid for the treatments that we had at that time in terms of what she was giving us at the time when they didn't want to pay it. They paid for it 2 years later when they should have been honoring it all along because they knew good and well that anyone who filed the grievance have a right to continue their benefits. And my trouble is to the taxpayers and to Senator Blumenthal and to the Attorney General Tung. I want you to take action against Senator Blumenthal as well as those of them who basically were involved in this case in terms of finding out action. What did they do with that file? What did Senator Blumenthal do with these complaints that I filed about Gerald Wayne and Mike Coe and them committing fraud? I gave them documentation in black and white showing that they committed fraud. Y'all seen it. Everybody's seen it. And that's why I said, are they going to be made to pay it back? Are they going to be made to pay it back? I think they should be made to pay it back. No one's above the law. Okay, and for Gerald Wayne, Mike Coe to commit the kind of fraud they committed fraud. You don't, if I voluntarily resign, there's no hearings for voluntary employees who voluntarily resign. I was terminated, okay? And terminated employees, as long as you file a grievance, you have a right to have a hearing. And is that the reason why they had 4 hearings? They had 3 or 4 different hearings. About what? They should have been told by Mr. Murphy that the city was justifiable in terminating me, as he said, that I come in with literally straps of paper, that my signature, my doctor's note signature was unillegible, and all the above. Okay, then the question is, what did Murphy give Gerald Wayne and Mike Coe pertaining to whether or not the city was justifiable in taking back his medical benefits? They denied me my medical benefits for 2 years, okay, and it caused me irreparable damage in my mouth in terms of my dental needs and my daughter's needs, my wife's need at that time, okay? And the question is, Gerald Wayne took and made $850, and I say, is he going to be made to pay that back? I want the Attorney General to take action against Gerald Wayne for committing fraud. He committed fraud. He knew good and well that Murphy terminated me, and he said he terminated me because I come running in with literally straps of paper. And the question is, if I come running in with literally straps of paper, well, at least I came in. So that means I did come to work. So who's telling the truth? You want to know why come we need a grand jury? You need somebody to investigate these allegations against these state and city officials who violated the public's trust by doing what they did to me. There was no reason for them to treat me the way they treated me. I'm a homeowner. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a community activist. I've been in the eye of the storm since I was 10 years old. I'm 76 years old now. I just turned 76 on April 6th. And again, I say to myself, and I say to the public and to John Doe, you say if you see something, say something. Well, I seen terminated dirt piles that our kids were playing on, and I complained about that. And because I complained about that, I ended up getting terminated because of that. I have no problem being terminated for things that they feel like they want to terminate me for, but I'm not going to let you just run over me and take advantage of me. I'm going to fight back. And that's what I tried to do by paying Attorney John Williams $10,000 to represent me in court. But for some reason or another, Gerald Wayne and Mike Coe got so much power that these people are afraid to pursue this matter. And I can't understand why. Why they won't pursue Gerald Wayne and Mike Coe for doing what they did to me? Why the Connecticut Post and why WICC don't want to talk about Gerald Wayne and Mike Coe? Do you believe that ain't not one time Mike Coe name, Gerald Wayne's name was never mentioned in the paper? Gerald Wayne and Mike Coe never were mentioned in the Connecticut Post, not one time. Dr. Evans, Jody Paul, they fired Dr. Evans, they fired Jody Paul. As soon as Ganem got in office, he fired both of them right away. But Mike Coe and Gerald Wayne are still here. Okay, I understand Murphy must have passed away sometime back then. I feel sorry for his loss, his family loss. But the bottom line is that he still committed fraud by allowing this injustice to take place, and he did not protect me as he was sworn to oath to do so. To be fair and impartial. You talk about ethics. What kind of ethics do the Connecticut Post have? What kind of ethics do the WICC have when it comes to someone like me coming with overwhelming evidence in black and white, overwhelming evidence in recording voices of those of them that are involved in the cover-up, and you don't want to respond to it, and then you look at me like, what's wrong with me? What do you think is wrong with me? I'm an American citizen. I have a right to be treated with respect, and I have a right to have my rights protected. They violated the public trust, and I say shame on us to allow this to go on. And that's why I say that whomever you may concern, whoever you may know, tell them to download the Cecil Young Show on YouTube or Soundview Media. You can download this show 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, around the clock at your own time, at your own convenience. Please do so to help me get the word out to the powers that be. When the governor comes to ask you for his support, you tell the governor, why didn't you respond to Cecil Young's unjust termination, Governor? He's not asking you to do him no favor. Mayor Ganem, he's not asking you to do him no favor. All he's saying is, let's put it all on the table. Let's show our hands. You got to be playing cards. You got to show your hand. Show me the evidence to justify you doing what you did to me. You know you did me wrong. As a result of that, I've been suffering psychologically and physically in ways that I should not have been suffered. But because of you sitting in a position of authority and not honoring with the oath that you took to be fair and impartial, your ethics are unrespectable, unbearable. You have no ethics at all. And that's why I say to the Connecticut Post, the WICC, to Brian Lockhart, and to Lisa Webster, please cover the story. Don't cover me because of me being me. Cover the evidence that I've shown you all in black and white. Our kids got to know if they believe in the justice system, they should feel that when they go to court, they're going to get a fair hearing. They're going to have a fair trial. I didn't get that. Why? Because I went before a referee after taking my attorney to John Williams to court. All right? And the referee at that time, when I finally got him in court, he said, why are you doing this to me? I'm doing it to you. You got $10,000 from me, John Williams. You never showed up in court, not one time. And the only time he showed up in court was on Golden Hill Street, was because I sued him and taken him to court, to Golden Hill Street Court. And what makes it so bad is that the referee started questioning my wife about issues that had nothing to do with my case other than the fact that, what are you bugging her for? She's been through a lot as it is, Your Honor. I'm here about John Williams not representing me properly. That's what I'm here for. All right? But he didn't want to hear it. Next thing I know, I turned up the case. I was in and I was out before I even knew it. And get a letter in the mail saying I was ruling in his favor? Come on. I'm an American taxpayer. And I'm saying to Governor Lamont, okay, and Mayor Joe Ganem, put the evidence on the table, show the city, show the taxpayers that Cecil was unjustly terminated, or either he was making it all up. Whichever may be the case, someone got to come forward to show, all right, that my rights need to be honored, they need to be respected, because again, then go to grace of God can be used next, okay? And that's why I say to you, it ain't about me, it's about we, okay? And I'm saying everything I ever did all my life is did it because I wanted to, not because I had to. And I'm saying shame on the powers that be. These labor board commissioners who've been there, Gerald Wayne has been here for almost 20 years. Gerald Wayne has been here for almost 20 years. Mike Coe has been there for 20 years. That's why my lawyer don't want to go against them, because they know that as time go on, down the road, they will hold that against them if they rule against them. Okay, that's why they all threw the towel in on me. They all threw the towel in on me. And I'm saying that Gerald Wayne, Mike Coe, Albert Murphy, if anything I said here can't be backed up, I say sue me. Please sue me, Cecil Young. Sue me. Huh? My house is paid for, and I'm pleading with you to sue me, to get me back in court. Give me my day in court. Then if you find me guilty, you find a ruling against me, so be it. At least let me know that I went through the process. I went through the system where I was supposed to go through the system, and the system denied me my justice. It turned its back on me. Don't I have a right to be vindicated? Don't I have a right to be heard? Never had no sit down talk about, Cecil, look, hold up, man, you got to control your ways, blah, 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 blah. None of that was happening. I was just terminated. After she gave me permission to come to work, you hear on the recorder, Dr. Evans, give me permission to come to work, yet still I got terminated 3 days later after that. How could it happen? Jody Paul says, yeah, you came to work, but you left an hour and a half late. You came into work, but you left an hour and a half earlier. Well, I thought I didn't come to work, Jody Paul. According to you, I didn't come to work. Listen to this recording, listen to this show. You will hear Jody Paul say all the above that I just got through mentioning, and you will hear me and Mike Coe show you that they committed fraud. And I want Mike Coe to pay back that $575, and I want Gerald Wayne to pay back the $850. They should not have been allowed to get away with this. And I'm saying to the public and to the taxpayers, to whom it may concern, please help me get this word out, because what they did to me, it could happen to you. And again, no one should be above the law like they think they are. And they are because they're in a position of authority. And I say it ain't about black and white, it's about right and wrong. These were black and white folks who violated my public trust. So it ain't about black and white, it's about right and wrong. And I'm saying I proved that they committed fraud. If I voluntarily resign, you don't get no benefits. Gerald know that. They've been there for 20 years or more. Mike Coe had been there for 20 years or more, so they know the procedures in terms of whether or not you have a right to continue benefits. No, they had hearings unnecessary. There should not have been no hearings down here. It should have been point blank, honor Mr. Young's benefits because he have a right to those benefits. Oh, they did it 2 years later. They honored it 2 years later after the fact. And it wasn't that they honored it. They got their name down there like they honored it. They was honored it because this board member that I went before, about 8 or 10 other board members who told them to put their name down and honor what they didn't honor back then in 2006 that they should have honored in 2006, but they didn't until 2008 because they got paid. 2 extra years they got paid. They committed fraud. I want the money paid back. Gerald Wayner, pay the money back. Mike Cohen, pay the money back. You talking about the mayor that wants to run for governor? And you talking about getting her possibly locked up for what she so-called did by getting ready to run for governor and find out that she had all kind of stuff going on with her as well, and they want to pursue her and lock her up. Well, what about Gerald Wayner? What about Mike Cohen? They committed fraud. Cecil Young said they committed fraud. Here is the evidence. Let them justify them getting paid, having more hearings than the termination had. For what? What did Murphy give you, Gerald Wayner? Did he give you a note saying that he volunteered to resign? Because if that was the case, then you have a right to want to discuss it and deal with it. But if he did not volunteer to resign, he was terminated, you're supposed to honor his benefits. So again, I say to the public and John Doe, please tune in to the Cecil Young Show. You can download the show Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. And I say, please do so that they will be known and it will be let known that they committed fraud and they're not going to get away with it because we're not going to allow them to get away with it. So please help me, help you, help yourself in our community by getting involved and let people know that when they come for their support, for mayor and for governor, tell them, hold up, why didn't you respond to Cecil Young's request? Why didn't you respond to Cecil Young's request? Thank you for listening to the Cecil Young Show on YouTube, Soundview Media, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. Call your friend, call your neighbor, tell them about the good news that Cecil Young is spreading on Soundview Media this morning and this afternoon. Thank you very much and have a good day.